Welcome back, educators, to Inside the Classroom. My name is Sarah Willis. I'll be the host of this podcast, and I just want to first say thank you to all of the people who reached out, sent text messages, commented on the video, sent emails. With your gratitude, I am very appreciative. So please keep it up. Your encouragement encourages me, so we can just keep encouraging each other, right? Episode 2 is titled, It's Our Job. And recently I had a conversation with a friend of mine who we were talking about COVID and the struggles that have arisen from that. And the nursing profession was brought up. And I'm not sure if it was a friend of hers or a friend of a friend, but eventually this nurse, this well-seasoned nurse, after about a year of dealing with what they've dealt with, finally took to social media to call out the other nurses who were complaining and struggling with the situation of COVID. And she finally said, whoa, guys, we signed up for this. When you studied to be a nurse, you studied to take care of people and to see people at their worst and to rise to the occasion and make sure that that person, that patient, received the best care. So stop your complaining. Stop quitting your jobs because we're not being treated the way we should, because we signed up for it for the patients, not for any other reason except to help people. And in that story, I drew inspiration. Because a lot like nurses, teachers, we're the same. We complain, and I see stories that fill up my Instagram feed or fill up my Facebook pages of teachers don't get this, and teachers need this, and teachers are sick of this. And I agree with a lot of it. A lot of it is sound and honest. But at the same time, I want to shout, guys, we signed up for this. When we became teachers, we knew that this was part of the job. So It's Our Job is going to do just that. I do have a little bit of a disclaimer. It will sound throughout the next 20 or so minutes that I am accusing you of doing things incorrectly or wrong. I don't mean to sound that way. I am just as much talking to myself in these different areas. I'm in this with you. I struggle with these just as much as you do. So I'm calling myself out on the carpet more than anyone. And so I want to use, my weaknesses and my failures to encourage you, to show you that you're not alone, but also to kind of remind you to put your big girl pants on, to put your big boy pants on, and recognize that we did truly sign up for this. So in the categories that we will discuss, I have students, parents, technology, coworkers, and administration. So I will quickly move through those and kind of let you know the two sides, the two struggles to that. But first, I'm going to start with a verse, and it's from James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. And it says, "Count it joy, my brothers, when you face trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." I love this verse because steadfastness is definitely one of those qualities that teachers need, but it also says when. Hey guys, when you face trials. It doesn't say whether you will. It doesn't say you might. It says when. So the categories that I'm going to go through are going to be that, hey, count it joy. It is going to test your faith. It is going to produce steadfastness in a difficult way, but it also guarantees it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be rainbows, which some of us thought when we were in our college years getting certified. So that first category, the students that we have disrespectful students. We have apathetic students who don't care if they fail or if they pass. We have students who break our hearts, their home situations, their family situations. They come to us just sad. We also have those physically aggressive students, the ones who don't know how to resolve conflicts. Guys, we see it all. And I'm right there with you, dealing with the difficult ones, dealing with the ones that I just want to pray for. I just want to hug. And a lot of times I do. I just hug them because they're struggling so much. So you're not alone in any of those. And we have the good ones, right, guys? We do. We have the ones who come in on time, who are prepared, who turn in their work, who are respectful, who help out around the room. We have those as well, but it's usually the tough ones where we start complaining, where we start playing the violin and the woe is me. So, no, you're not alone, but at the same time, guys, this is our job as teachers, is to deal in the difficult, is to recognize that it's not easy and it's very hard, but this is what I do and I love it. The other area that we get to deal with are the parents of those students. Sometimes the student is just as difficult as the parent is difficult, but the different types, right, of parents that I kind of identified are the helicopter parents, the ones that are very involved, both good and bad. We've seen both. We've also dealt with the absentee parent, that parent who won't return a single phone call, who won't return a single email, who's absent for every conference that we've ever hosted. They just aren't there. And that's difficult because who else can we ask for help if not the parent? We also have the single parents, the ones that are juggling so many things. And a lot of times those single parents don't just have an only child. They have multiple children. And so not only are they juggling multiple jobs, but they're juggling multiple campuses and multiple children at the same time. We deal with harsh and abusive parents. I've walked away from meetings several times in tears because my heart breaks for that student. No one should talk to their child that way. And I just want to rescue them. I'll adopt you. Come to my house. You can stay with me. And that's a hard line, to not cross when you just are broken over how they're treated. And we have the supportive parents, thankfully, the ones who come to open house, the ones who do answer the emails in response of, thank you so much for letting me know. I'll be sure and have a conversation with him when he gets home. Love that response. It's one of my favorites, where I just can sit back and be like, oh, thank you. So you're not alone. We deal with all of them. But guys, we have to stop complaining about that. We have to put our big girl pants on. We have to put our big boy pants on and recognize, who else are we going to deal with? When the student's being difficult, of course, hopefully they have a parent that's either going to fight for them or discipline them or support them and in blaming you. Of course, that's going to be there. I am kind of at a loss as to why all of a sudden teachers are getting so fed up with parents. Parents have been around in the education system for many, many years. Guys, we just have to do a better job and represent ourselves and our districts in regard to parents a little bit better. The next one is technology. Love it. Isn't it a great thing to have? And yes, it is. I sound sarcastic, but it truly is. I made a list because I was curious. There are 5 softwares, applications that I have to have constantly open daily, right? That's including things like the attendance software, the gradebook software, email, things of that nature. But at one particular time, 5 tabs, 5 applications is a lot, clicking here and then moving back and clicking here. Technology is not always our best friend. And I understand. My dad is an educator, and I want to say almost 40 years in the profession. So he has seen chalkboards that eventually move into the overhead projector, which he was still using in 2008, by the way, with transparencies. So I got to see that. And now we have smart TVs and smart boards and screen casting, from a personal device to the projector. It's a lot to take in. So I think us younger ones need to be a little bit more patient with the older ones, and older ones, give it a try It's amazing what we can do. This is our job, and you're not alone. But what did you expect? Did you expect to use a chalkboard the rest of your career? I don't understand why we are being so hesitant to implementing this wonderful technology. And I think this is why. We are so afraid to acknowledge to our students that we don't know what to do. We are so afraid to use a software or to use a program that we aren't experts in, that we don't know it inside and out. Because heaven forbid we say in front of our students, you know what, guys, I don't know. That's a great question. Or, hey, how about you find out for me? Can you Google that for me? We're so afraid because we're prideful, because we're the educator, we're the teacher, we're the ones that has to have all the answers. And instead letting the students teach us. That's the coolest thing about our job, is when we learn from our students. I love that part of my job because it's exhausting to try and know everything, every aspect of what I do. So guys, let the technology thing go and let them teach you. This is our job. The fourth category are coworkers. And I love working with different people. I think if we were all the same, education would fail. Some of you probably in your mind or under your breath were like, it is failing. It's not. It's not. It may seem that way, but I promise it's not. We've just got to learn to work better with each other. And I think it boils down to being able to walk a mile in someone else's shoe. We are quick to complain. We are quick to judge. And I am just as guilty. I have a very difficult time with fighting in my brain. Oh, I could do it so much better. Which is a shame. Because a lot of times that's what I think, and that is straight from the devil, building up false confidence and false pride in something that isn't even mine. It's a gift from the Lord that He's allowing me to use. And so I think we are so quick to judge or like, oh, that person isn't teaching that right. Walk in their shoes. Ask a simple question like, hey, are you doing okay? How's your family? Hey, I saw you were late this morning. Can I do anything to help you? For example, teachers, help out during your conference period. That's kind of what it's for. That's why conference periods are scheduled throughout the day. So if something comes up or a problem arises, we have a team of people that should be able to have our back. I know too many teachers that refuse to give up their conference period because that's their time to work or to grade or to catch up. Of course it is. I know that. But at the same time, you have to be willing to help out. You have to be willing to have someone else's back and to step in and be like, I got you. Take care of what you need to take care of, right? So you're not alone. It is hard working with people from different backgrounds and cultures and beliefs and ages even. But at the same time, you signed up to be a teacher, to be on a team, a PLC, whatever you want to call it. So don't be shocked when there's disagreement. Don't be shocked when there's backlash. Don't be shocked when there's friction. But be patient and ask questions and walk a mile in that person's shoe before doing anything else. The last category that I'm going to bring up is administration. And I wanted to end with this one because I've been convicted recently about my specific administration. And of course, I'm not going to name names or point fingers or name drop or anything like that. But I wanted to read you a verse that I found. Romans 13, 1-2, it says, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. So in getting ready for this week's podcast, I listened to a sermon from Matt Chandler, who's the pastor at the Village Church in Flower Mound. He's also a world-renowned author of many, many books. But in his series that he and his church are going through, titled Resurrection Hope, he kind of preached on this subject about the government and how to respond to authority. And what he said definitely stuck out. He said two things. One, that we should submit to authority. We as believers, most importantly, should be the best at this. Guys, our superintendents and our assistant superintendents and our directors of the different departments and our principals and our assistant principals and our counselors, guys, they're in charge for a reason. One, they went to school and got their degree, but two, God allowed it. God allowed that person to be placed in that specific role because he is sovereign and he is in charge of absolutely every aspect of our lives. And if he wanted something different, for example, a different president or a different governor, he could make it happen like that in an instant. So the fact that these people are where they are is for a reason. And who are we to question that? I love that about that verse because, again, it's very humbling for myself and it's eye-opening to think like that. So is it hard? Yes. Is it hard to work under people who don't have your same vision, who don't have your same beliefs, or even who have a personality clash? Absolutely. To take orders or to accept criticism and there be a disagreement there. Again, I go back to the coworkers and I say, ask questions. Asking questions is a great way to resolve conflict or to find common ground or a compromise of some kind. But sometimes, guys, just do what they say. They're your boss. I think social media and its uprise has broken down the professionalism that we once had. That Facebook gives us the right to complain about whatever we want. And that should not be the case. We should keep some level, even if it's a small level of professionalism where we don't complain about our boss or the district that we work in. Should there be a change to some things? Absolutely. Right? I'm going to be the first one to tell you that when certain things are changed or when I'm asked to change curriculum, there might be resistance because it goes against a core belief or it goes against, just my personality. So I'm not saying that we should just become lambs, or sheep led to the slaughter, but there is a certain respect that comes with authority. And if we want to set a good example for our students to one day become great citizens who respect their government, stop complaining about your principal. Stop complaining about your counselors. Stop complaining about your superintendent. If you want to change something, just like we tell our students, how about you go back to school and get your certification and become the person who changes it? I love having that conversation in class when students complain about a law or complain about a policy. That's the first thing I tell them. If you want to change it and you care that much, how about you go to school, you study that, you get your degree in that, and then you go and you make a change. It's a novel idea, but it shouldn't be. You're not alone dealing with difficult people or following orders that you disagree with. But at the same time, we're teachers. We're the foot soldiers. We're the grunts, if you know military code. We're the ones that have to walk it. And if we want to change something, we need to do it in a more respectful way. So in conversations that I've had over this last week, it really inspired kind of this topic. I want to be sympathetic, a listening ear and a sounding board to all of you. So please leave comments about things you're struggling with or things that you want to see changed, like pay. I'm all for it. Let's get a pay raise. But we need to do it in a better way. And we need to just suck it up, guys. Suck it up. Stop complaining because complaining doesn't do a bit of good. And our students see that. Our students can see all over our faces when we're unhappy and when we're not pleased with how things are going down. So I pray for you this week. I pray over you this week, Galatians 5:22 through 23. And it's the verse about the fruits of the Spirit, guys. If you're not a believer in Jesus Christ, then maybe this doesn't make sense. But those of us who are, here they are. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I think all of us would agree that we each need a little bit more or a lot more of each of those. So as you stay inside the classroom this week, think about not being alone. Think about there's a whole team out there of educators rooting for you. But at the same time, pick yourself up, brush the dust off, and get back to it, because this is our job. Until next time, y'all have a great week.